Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to tonight's tournament. It is the UMG Prime at $750 4v4 Search and Destroy. Of course, here on March 31st. It's almost April 1st. Almost April Fool's Day, but not exactly. No jokes today. It's all about the business. Starting things off in our quarterfinal matchup between AFS and TMT. Of course, for our Search and Destroy only tournament for tonight, as it looks like TTinyy is not able to commit to much. It's funny enough, TMTwerk is his gamer tag, not actually on TMT. So that's going to be a little bit confusing for us this evening, at least in our first matchup, but hopefully there's no more TMT teams in the tournament. I don't think that's true, but there were some interesting team names that we had. I think, we had like some Fortnite names. We had Anime Will Save COD was actually a team name as well, which I'm personally a big fan of. I was hoping that they would make it to our quarterfinal matchup. I was really looking forward to maybe casting over a hype moment for them. But there is always next time. They can always save COD, maybe another day. But looking on here, round number 2, of course, will be BigBobbyJinx, my favorite gamer tag in all of Call of Duty World War II, for the side of AFS on the offense off the break. And, of course, we got to talk about its London Docks. Fast-paced gameplay, quick bomb plant, snipes can definitely be there. But along with an attached smoke can be very useful when it comes down to planting on that water side. But kills going back and forth. And as fast as it's going, it's not to be unexpected. But right now, it's going to be TTinyy left in a 1 versus 2. Of course, TTinyy kind of becoming more known in the Call of Duty community since the Cineplex Canadian tournament, where he played for Mocket Esports. Left the team, heading actually into Birmingham. And now in his current form, I believe, at least for now, is kind of a free agent, or maybe he's found an organization as of recent, but quick snipe. Onto one, has yHarm left, and can he find yet again another kill? 1 versus 2, pistol in hand, and making it look easy. Great timing there for TTinyy, and honestly, when you're in that situation, the one angle that yHarm does not check while he is kind of watching over his bomb planter is that area through closet, and that's just overall a great vantage point from TTinyy. Granted, doesn't have to do anything insane, that he kind of just moves his way up through the map, kind of is in a typical spot for a sniper, so he kind of progresses himself, but makes it look easy regardless in that 1-on-2. As back-to-back rounds being granted toward the side of TMT. As it looks like TTinyy continuing on with the sniper rifle and catches the side of TTinyy, not slowing down as of yet. PapiWrek going for the dolphin dive just to try to stay alive for a little bit longer. But how long can he last is the question. Up close and personal fight takes the head off of TTinyy. No streaks today, or at least for now. Is a 3 versus 2 bomb. Not even looking to be planted currently. It's all about the kills. A full 360 at the stairs will lead to a quick death, as it looks like TCM actually shuts down his teammate ItsCurtBoy. And that's rather unfortunate, to say the least. But despite that, though, Nelson up close and personal gunfights, not expecting it. And now it's going to leave his teammate TCM now in a 1 versus 2. AFS could get their first round on the board. A much needed one at that, but TCM has the answer. Can he find it yet again? But not able to make it happen. And this is kind of what's expected. I mean, when it comes to the London Docks, fast-paced gameplay. You're going, you're going, you're going. I mean, there is just constant action flowing. And when you're on offense or defense, you can kind of get caught up a little bit. You know, making aggressive rushes. I mean, like I said, I was kind of calling out. The bomb planter wasn't even going for a plant. He was just looking for the kills through the middle of the map. Unfortunately, a team kill comes through from TCM. But despite that, though, it's all about the aggression, how many kills you can get, and really just try to escape out of a round as fast as possible. But looking on here, team with the advantage, unfortunately, does lose their first round, but at least it makes it a little bit more competitive as the smoke gets tossed down here for BigBobbyJinx. Does he spot the angle? And yes, I believe CurtBoy's shadow actually gets shown, and along with that, BigBobbyJinx isn't able to find the second. It will be TTinyy holding valiantly on that B-bomb site. It looks like he is going to be rushing forward. Wants his second, and yes, he's found it. PapiWrek, 1 versus 2, and he is going to get shut down through that mid-statue side. As a good answer coming back here from TMT. Once you're up, you do not want to kind of release what is a vantage point, what is a lead. And they are going to hold on to that for now. And, of course, keeping in mind, ladies and gentlemen, for tonight, best of 3s for now. So each map meaning more and more, especially when it comes down to a quarterfinal. You fought so hard to get to this point. You want to obviously try to continue that for as long as possible. So early round or early map losses can be A little bit defeating, but off the break. Offensive rush toward the B-bomb site yet again. This time, though, it's BigBobbyJinx from the side of AFS who has the first laugh. But can he get the last? As it looks like TMTwerk also responding for one. Nelson is there for the response, and despite the early kills coming through, it's really a matter of ItsCurtBoy and Nelson trying to get the fight on their side. Nelson already finding 2 kills in this round, wants to try to find the ace. But unfortunately for him, the bomb is left in a pretty awkward spot. You're going to have to get great timing on this. And I believe yHarm does spot his side, and now it's all about a gunfight between Nelson and PapiWrek. However, Nelson decides to fade back, wants to try a different vantage point, and thankfully does have quite a bit of time on the clock. I mean, he's still got something to work with, but too many vantage points, too many different lines of sight, as PapiWrek will be able to sniff out Nelson inside the barrels. So with that, as the match does continue, of course, sides will swap 3-2. Still, though, in favor of the boys from TMT. Like I said, despite the fact that TMTwerk does have the TMT gamer tag, he is on the side of AFS. But looking on here, offensive round underway. We'll actually take a look at this actually from the overhead point of view, because TTinyy now is blind, so he's going to have to try to rush his way in, and probably with a sniper rifle. It could be getting a little bit awkward, as it looks like PapiWrek finding a few off the break, leaving TTinyy quickly in a 1 versus 4. He's dropped one and needs a miracle shot to at least make that one competitive, but of course not going to happen this time. It's really, I mean, we talked about, like I said, London Docks, fast-paced gameplay. It's exactly what we're seeing from both of these squads on either of the bomb sites, right? Because, I mean, in the last round, from TMT, we see them make an aggressive rush toward the B-bomb site. For AFS, we see them just now make a very aggressive rush toward the A site. And so it's really about trying to find these big first bloods, but, I mean, just kind of getting control and letting the enemy make the mistake, letting the enemy kind of rush out to a certain point of view. Because, like I said, you can kind of get caught off guard from time to time, as TMTwerk responds with 2 early kills, coming through a vantage point which was never going to be expected. Thankfully, rather, for TCM, he's able to drop 1, but they know that he is in this backside point of view. Out of coal room is where he's trying to exit, and BigBobbyJinx gets his head ripped off of that head glitch. Great word usage there, Landon. But looks like yHarm receiving some shots there. Nice vantage points continuing here for TCM. I mean, a few extra bullets there, and he's able to take off 2 players who had the advantage for some point. And right now, if you're TCM, you're thinking, okay, someone's got to be challenging me from some point of view. yHarm is making himself way too prevalent, but it's not actually the case. I think they were waiting for a push. I think yHarm was trying to give a quick call out saying, okay, whenever you want to, PapiWrek, you can come out of fire, take out TCM, but interesting gunfight, to say the least. yHarm will walk away with it regardless. And actually, heading into this next round, I want to see the streak progression maybe from a few players. I believe it was, yeah, yHarm who ends up staying alive, along with PapiWrek. So they're about halfway toward their streaks, both at 300. As AFS do take the lead 4 rounds to 3. And it looks like player number 8 is going to be TMTwerk, looking for that snipe, not going to spot. Actually, no, not actually with the snipe. I could have swore that the reason why he holds this point of view is for the snipe, but it's actually not at all the case. Wanting to aggressively rush, I believe he calls out number 2 Nelson, who's actually inside of the middle map, and he's the last player alive, tries to get some type of vantage point, but it's not going to work out. And so just like that, yHarm & Co. will stay up. And AFS quickly finding themselves on map point here, 5 rounds to 3, and are looking pretty solid. And as yHarm does find that final kill, like I said, he was at 300 heading in toward this round. Let's see where he is at now. If I can actually find him, there we go. Yeah, so has earned the fighter pilot along with the glide bomb, and being on the defensive side, depending on which bomb site they've been to go toward, A actually is kind of more preferable, at least for the early stages of this round. And they don't have any mid-map presence or any presence inside of the A bomb site whatsoever, so they could be either relying on streaks or something along those lines. But yHarm going to receive a little bit of the fire. And I don't think that based on their strategy, they were planning to use the streaks on the defense here. It could turn into that, but just based on the 4-man stack, you have to kind of fade back. These streaks would be useful in some senses, but not in total. As it looks like one player gets caught off toward the side. Nelson with a nice drop shot. PapiWrek has not much of a response there in that 1vx scenario, but TTinyy, let's get to watch what this snipe was all about. As the unfortunate Mantle will see a quicker death. As we're seeing quite a bit of snipers coming out, even on offense and the defensive sides at same or similar points during the round. But keep in mind, though, TMT, they're hanging in. They're hanging on right now. 4 rounds to 5, and TTinyy desperately needs to find a first pick here. The smokes are out, and it looks like there's going to be somewhat of a presence on B, but player number 6 is going to wrap back. He realizes, hey, I need to be back with my squad. He's waiting for the streaks to get called in, but these early fights are going to play important, and you see BigBobbyJinx waiting for these to get called in. Here comes the glide bomb, but I believe, does TCM actually have? I can't actually tell if he has Mountain on or not. That's an unfortunate Comcaster glitch, but it looks like takes down PapiWrek regardless. Him and TTinyy, I believe, both have Mountain on in this case. Unfortunately, can't see TCM, so there was no knowledge once that streak comes in that there's anyone inside of docks. So it kind of provides a little bit of an awkward scenario. But despite that, though, TCM finding himself in a 1v2. His position's known. He takes out Twerk. 1 bullet left, and he finds it. 1v1. TCM versus yHarm. Do we go round 11, or is this one done here in round number 10? Bomb in the hands of yHarm. It's starting to get heavier and heavier. And if yHarm can get this bomb down unscathed, he is a fighter pilot. So, I mean, once around the 14-second mark, the 20-second mark, he calls in that streak, and this round should be theirs. So if you're TCM, you're having to make a very quick push. And you see him rushing pretty aggressively. He has to go through what is in a very awkward vantage point and checking every single corner possible. And right now, if you're yHarm, here comes the streak, and just like that, try to swap over to his perspective. And easy pickings, as I believe TCM did not actually have Mountain on there. And so it made it even easier for yHarm to spot him where it is expected, which is going to be on the B-bomb site. So just like that, 6 rounds to 4, yHarm leading his team to a map 1 victory here on London Docks, as it looked to be a solid showing from TMT off the break, but kind of toward the latter parts of the match, like I said, it seemed to show otherwise. But like I said, 6 rounds to 4, pretty close game, to say the least. Was kind of expecting this one to be fairly close. It wouldn't surprise me whatsoever if we do see a map 3, but one thing that I'm really interested about, though, as we go ahead and take a look at our box score, it's all about the slaying here, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, TMT off to a hot start, but that 4-round swing, kind of 4-1 after round 5, kind of differential between AFS and TMT definitely kind of shows a tale of what was this London Docks. But kind of like I was saying, back, ladies and gentlemen, UMG Prime is $750, rather, gotta add the extra 50. 4v4 Search and Destroy, of course, here on March 31st. It's quarterfinals, like I said, between AFS and TMT. Of course, it's myself, Lando Sanders, live here in the UMG studio, as it looks like both teams decide that map 2 is a draw, and we're actually going to be heading to a map 3. No, I'm just, of course, just kidding. Unfortunately, some type of issue going on in the lobby. It looks like everyone was kind of dead set on wanting to kind of rush forward there, but it looks like we will be having a restart of some USS Texas, but to kind of bring you guys back under speed what exactly is going on when it comes down to this match. Of course, we are the quarterfinals for tonight's tournament, as we just got to witness AFS, of course, the group of yHarm, PapiWrek, BigBobbyJinx, and TMTwerk take map number 1, like I said, on London Docks, 6 rounds to 4 versus the side of TMT. Now loading in for some USS Texas. Of course, the differences between both maps is the factor that you do kind of have the similar focus when it comes down to the offensive presence. Usually both bomb sites aren't as usual to be hit when it comes down to USS Texas. It's mostly going to be on the offense's right side, which is going to be the A-bomb site. You can either use smokes to try to limit out the sniper rifles from time to time, and it's all about getting that mid-map control, kind of getting in your enemy's top side watchtower, or whatever it really may be. The kind of PPSHs, the sub-machine gun presence inside mid-map is always going to be huge, along with the added tacticals and lethals to try to help get that bomb down, or to even try to foil what would be an offensive push. But like I said, when it comes down to USS Texas, be expecting the sniper rifles. Of course, I'm looking at PapiWrek's point of view. Got the Kar 98K out, as we're going to go ahead and look and see look through the arsenal of any of these players, see if there's more than one sniper rifle. So got to go on board with the first blood machine, the big boy, PapiWrek. Got the Kar 98K out, as we'll see what bomb site they try to target off the break. Should be A, but you never know. Could try to go for the B bomb site, which it looks like could be a possibility based on the way that a few of the players are going. So what you're going to see is BigBobbyJinx try to focus his attention toward this left window, but you see a lot of the red arrows already inside of bottom ship, which focuses rather BigBobbyJinx to have to try and escape. So while those fights are going down, his teammates is kind of taking care of everything, so he has nothing to, for the most part, to worry about. And so now here comes the wraparound. TCM does get the melee onto yHarm. So now a 1v2 and isn't able to escape. So in some cases, that's a very risky round that we see coming from TMT. Of course, high risk, high reward. Does not work out for them here, but they send every single player in bottom ship to try to weather off what is normally at least one player kind of pushing toward bottom ship. So once that happens, bomb carrier, PapiWrek has to kind of, or not PapiWrek, excuse me, I think it was it yHarm? I can't remember who the bomb carrier was exactly. Might have been BigBobbyJinx, I think. I can't remember. Anyway, though, has to kind of wrap back around. Yeah, it was BigBobbyJinx. Has to kind of wrap back around. He realizes, okay, all 4 players are coming toward me. I have to wrap back around. Once he does that, thankfully his team is able to find the kills, and from there can try to form a little bit of a pinch. But a very interesting scenario where if the bomb planter drops inside of midship, that totally turns the round. So great awareness coming in from BigBobbyJinx to realize what was coming at him and to try and reset, but kills going down early. Half the lobby is dropped, and now we find ourselves in a 2v2. Nelson dropping yHarm, and now it's going to be PapiWrek left in a 1 versus 2. I believe player number 5, TTinyy, did spot him. He is on the hunt. This is going to be a pretty easy kill unless TMTwerk, yes! Oh my goodness! Wow! That hurts. That is going to leave a mark. Oh my goodness, PapiWrek, what a turn on. TTinyy will never be the same, but Nelson, thankfully, will be able to chalk up 1, as I thought that fight was dead to rights. I was thinking that one is for sure done with, but TTinyy, oh my goodness, man, like, whew. Wow. Machine pistol is good, but I guess not that good. I don't know, man. That was a pretty surprising shot. TTinyy now trying to redeem himself. Nearly gets the headshot into TMTwerk. I mean, literally, that was inches away from hitting. But TMTwerk continuing to try to cause a little bit of havoc toward this side door. And fortunately gets the worst timing possible. 3 players drop at a moment's notice. PapiWrek thankfully is able to drop 1. And now he's going to have to do everything by himself. 1v3. Has the line set on the TCM. I thought he actually got a hit marker there. But despite the long-distance fight, sniper rifle versus, is that a sub? Yeah. Versus PPSH. I mean, TCM had a very hot game in map number 1, so I guess you could say it's not too surprising that he tries to take on a fight like that. But definitely very valiant, as a TMT do escape with back-to-back rounds. ItsCurtBoy still yet to find a kill, 0-3 for the moment, but maybe he can try and focus more a little bit on that objective. Maybe trying to do some stuff off the total stat line. But we'll see what they try and pull off when it comes down to offense. We have seen what AFS has tried to pull off, or excuse me, what TMT rather has tried to do, but it looks like Nelson comes through with 2 quick kills. ItsCurtBoy is going to be here for the 3rd. A few extra shots in the body. ItsCurtBoy says, my gun's working just fine now. As PapiWrek 1v3 does spot the head of ItsCurtBoy, and TTinyy probably has a sniper rifle, and yes, will not miss with that shot. He says a machine pistol is one thing, but a sniper's another. Definitely feeling a lot more comfortable with 2 hands on the weapon rather than 1. So nice snipe there coming in from TTinyy, watching over his bomb planter. As I believe that's 3 rounds in a row, actually, toward the side of TMT. As looking to try and respond back here. Trying to force that map 3, which would be on St. Marie-du-Mont. Nelson very close to streaks. Definitely kind of the VIP right now, I like to call. Very important person on the map. Do not want to let him drop. Baiting out kills could be very important, as it looks like TCM, TTinyy are picking up the kills in quick succession. BigBobbyJinx wondering what just happened to my teammates. I'm in the middle of the ocean, and I've not got a friend with me. All but a beach ball. But it looks like he is going to drop there yet again. 4 rounds to 1. I said beach ball. I meant to say volleyball. Shout out to Castaway. Anyway, BigBobbyJinx tries to make his way up the stairs. As you can see there in the death cam, falls down every single one. Is that kind of what the story of the game is right now? Trying to climb back in this game, but just not having any success. Offense and or defense, TCM still very close to those streaks. We'll see if any one of his teammates are on a run. CurtBoy, despite starting off 0-3, is now kind of responding back fairly well as TTinyy continues to be a nuisance with that sniper. Nelson finds 2 kills. He didn't even need to find the second one to earn the streaks, but he does it regardless. And yHarm now a 1v4. All the confidence in the world, as it looks like yHarm drops one onto Nelson. A missed snipe, but has to be ready for this quick engagement. I think he actually saw the gun barrel on his screen, thinking that, hey, do I have a PPSH in my hands? No, I actually do. I don't actually have that. It's just TTinyy. And so just like that, 5 rounds in a row. And it's really just kind of been all-out aggression from TMT. And it's kind of been focused especially as well on some late first bloods. Because early on, when they were making this kind of comeback, whether it was in round kind of 3 and 4, they weren't winning their first bloods, but they were getting the kills in their favor. Kind of the second, third kill, having the man count advantage and working from there. But as far as the first bloods are considered, it's even right now, 3-3, which is pretty, or excuse me, yeah, 3-3 right now. It's kind of surprising to say that, keeping in mind the scoreline that we currently see right now. But BigBobbyJinx and TTinyy, 2v4, now a 1v4. TTinyy takes down CurtBoy on the mid deck, but is not able to do much more than that. 6 rounds to 1. Talk about a statement when it comes down to USS Texas. As after a loss, you want to talk about something that needs to bring you back in the game. You need a solid performance. And that is 100% what we just saw there. And as like I said, 6-1 overall as far as the scoreboard is considered. Of course, we'll be able to kind of take a look at this. I don't think we saw too many outliers, if really any at all, when it comes down to this match, despite TCM and Nelson still having a very solid match. Of course, TCM finished map number 1 off with 11 kills in total. Still top fragging for his squad, of course, in a much easier game. As you see the match time just above the scorecard, just under a 4-minute search and destroy. Pretty quick. Pretty quick games. These matches are getting done pretty fast, I got to say. But as far as the box score is considered, nothing too surprising. Of course, their first round grab from AFS, they looked pretty good. And honestly, in their offensive round, this could have been technically, if you want to kind of call this, you can't win 7-0. But maybe a few seconds go by, some timing goes the way of TMT, they win 7 rounds in a row, or at least they win 6 rounds in a row, if you really want to kind of put it in actual COD terms. Just based off the fact that in that first round, it was a matter of I think it was the offensive bomb carrier, who was BigBobbyJinx, managed to narrowly escape out of ship as a 4-man rush kind of came through that bottom side. We were kind of talking about it. It was just a matter of just, a flick of a switch. If something could have just, maybe pushed up a player a little bit farther, or if maybe they wouldn't have caused so much commotion to TMT and bottom ship. Like I said, they could have won this one 6-0, but that's really all you can analyze about this match. It was just the guys from TMT playing better, playing smarter. Really the sniper presence, I think it's fair to say, from TTinyy was very nerve-wracking despite how many first bloods he got. I think it might have been up to like 2, if not 3. He was still finding like big kills. It was like TCM finds one, and then TTiny's immediately there for a kind of a secondary kill or a third kill along with it. So I think that was really kind of a major worry moment for AFS, that they didn't really have the smokes out. You saw them kind of early on focusing toward bottom ship. Maybe that was the strategy that they were trying to use throughout the rest of the game. And then once that didn't work for them, then they had the snipers kind of toward the kind of farther lanes, and it's like, okay, where do we go from here? Do we just kind of turtle on our base, or what's really going to be the call? And I think once they started to turtle in their base, or if they tried to maybe push out those lanes, like I said, TMT was waiting on a head glitch. They had a sniper waiting. They had the fast SMG presence of guys like Nelson and TCM in every single quarter. or a corner rather, taking them out, like I said, in a very fast fashion. So, of course, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, apologies for the little bit of a delay. We had a few issues with the players trying to hop into the lobby, but we should be good to go now. Of course, map 3 in our current quarterfinal between AFS and TMT. Of course, here for tonight's tournament, the UMG Prime at $750 4v4 S&D. A lot of things attached to it, but another thing to be attached, it's myself, Landon Lano Sanders, of course, casting for you all tonight. Talking to myself as usual, having a great time doing it, as it looks like a 2v4 off the start here in round number 1. If you are the boys from AFS, that's exactly what you want to have, especially after losing last map the way that they did. Of course, USS Texas was map 2, where we saw TMT take that one 6 rounds to 1, actually winning 6 rounds in a row toward the latter half of the game. But speaking of recaps, though, that map 1, though, that was on London Docks was a 6-4 win for AFS. So despite their win, it still was very, very close, as a full team ace actually comes through from AFS as well. Every single player finding a kill, as now they have their shot at some offense. Their turn to swing, as it looks like the early toss coming out from yHarm does get a few hit markers, and now he's going to rely on PapiWrek to try to rush this one out. Has the WAF 28 in hand. The recoil is a little bit too much for him, though, as the gun shoots up so high he has no opportunity to really try to focus his fire on the player. But looks like Twerk firing a few shots to make sure the A is clear. Keeping in mind, though, the issue about planning on A is having that top position. A player like TCM in top red and top restaurant has a perfect overview at that bomb. So what they really need to do is try and target him, which is exactly what BigBobbyJinx is trying to pull off. Finds the headshot. So now with the advantage, they have top red control. At this point, it'd be smart to try to get the bomb down, but in reality, they're actually going to be going for an offside hit, which totally catches TMTwerk and TTinyy off guard, right? TMTwerk is thinking, okay, they take out that player, they're looking for that top side control, they're probably going to be trying to rush toward A, when in reality, it's the exact opposite. Playing to their opponents, and it's working out well, despite now a 2 versus 2. The retake needed for TTinyy and Co. from TMT. Initial shots coming in, and this is exactly when TMTwerk needs to come to the fight. Despite that, though, BigBobbyJinx holding on to the bomb valiantly. Needs to hold on to this, make sure he does not run out of bullets, and thankfully he does have the bomb to feed some of those bullets, as it got a little bit too close here at the end. You see TTinyy shot was just a little bit behind, but had he not used that bomb toward his advantage, definitely could be seeing a 1-1 scoreline right now. So needing a rebound right now is TMT. Now back on offense. Let's see what the classes are looking like right now. It looks like 4 PPSHs and a rush toward A. We'll see if they have any utility to try and help get this bomb plant down, as it looks like they do have TCM tossing out a nade. Going to make yHarm a little bit weak for the moment, but nades being exchanged as PapiWrek and Co. still up top. TTinyy making his rush, though, toward bottom. As it looks like Nelson and Co. are starting to find a few kills. Now going to be a 1 versus 3, and it looks like TMTwerk will be spotted out. An overall pretty solidly played round coming in from TMT. Didn't really need to use a whole lot of utility. A lot of teams can kind of load into maps and saying, you know, we really need to kind of utilize our smokes, utilize our concussions and whatnot, kind of like that a lot more often. But they just kind of go to show there in that last round that, hey, frags, overall gun skill, good positioning, can win rounds on offense also. And they don't even have to get the bomb planted. So with that, of course, as we do flip sides, now AFS's turn. See what they can try to do. And it looks like quite a bit of mid-map presence being shown right now from the blue squad, of course, being TMT. Almost said TNT. Speaking of that, though, explosions happening as it looks like ItsCurtBoy does pick off 2 very, very early. PapiWrek, though, does have his WAF in hand. You get old BigBobbyJinx instead of bottom. Red narrowly takes out TTinyy. About a bullet difference there, and thankfully that BigBobbyJinx was so weak that should have been a 2-piece coming in from him, but was one shot. And TeeClam, a.k.a. TCM, lives to see another day. PapiWrek, 1v2. I believe he does not spot TCM there, so the side peek works out very, very well. And despite what would be normal, because I think what PapiWrek is expecting is he's going to go ahead and back up. Probably a bait and switch would be coming through mid-map. Not going to be the case. Nelson spots him toward the left side. And so just like that, TMT coming back with 2 rounds of their own. And good overall kind of knowledge there of Nelson. I mean, when he's in that situation, he's already thinking, okay, what is this last guy going to be thinking of? What's his plan here? Is he going to try to rush, try to get the plant down? Well, no, I have this position. He probably thinks that me and TCM are going to try to form a little bit of a bait and switch, so he's probably going back up. There's a lot of different moments kind of going on throughout this match. A lot of mind games being played as well. When you played so much Search and Destroy in your kind of career, along with in World War II, you start to realize exactly what the enemy is thinking in certain situations. That's just one of the many times where you get to witness it firsthand. But it looks like a Tiny off the start goes for the rush. Very uncharacteristic, but the player has a sniper rifle in hand. Thankfully, PapiWrek, with his WAF, of course, is there to silence him for the time. But a 2 versus 3 advantage toward the offensive team, but only for a short time, as it looks like that very important objective does get planted. And so now it's up to PapiWrek and Twerk. Try to rush this one forward. Shaky shots coming in from PapiWrek. His WAF has tweeted him much better. But has to go for the rush, and he's checking the wrong point of view. At least Twerk has a better vantage point now to try to target this. Can he get the shots onto Nelson? No. Not going to be there. And Nelson will actually pick up both of these kills here. And so survives the last round along with finding 2 kills in this one. Very interested in witnessing how close Nelson could be to those streaks, as he is the top fragger right now for his squad, tied in overall kills right now with BigBobbyJinx from the opposite end over from AFS. As we go ahead and stay on board with BigBobbyJinx and co. Yet again, more and more A hits. Nelson, keeping in mind how important his life is right now on this map, gets 2 players actually to shoot at him, and in that happening, Twerk has his own teammate Harm run right in front of his overall perspective, and just like that, Tiny comes through with 2 quick kills, a snipe along with the frag. The Concaster glitches, so I can't even see it. That's rather unfortunate, but despite that, though, that was the Tiny show. Speaking of Tiny, a synonym fast, maybe? I don't know exactly. It's quick, very quick round coming in, stretching my words there. But despite that, very quick round coming through from TMT is really, they're just kind of winning these rounds, especially like I said on USS Texas. They win 6 rounds in a row to close out the game. Well, they've won 4 rounds in a row here on map 3, St. Marie-du-Mont. As when you look at both of these lineups, definitely projected to make it far in our Search and Destroy only tournament. But one of them will see a fairly early exit, especially in their eyes. Who will it be? A big round coming through if you are the red side, a.k.a. AFS. And first bloods like that can bring you back into a match, dropping 1 off the start, and 3 kills coming. And following suit, ItsCurtBoy, last alive, thankfully has the bomb in his possession, so it will make his life a little bit easier, but not to the point where you're starting to feel confident. Drops 2 players. BigBobbyJinx, though, is there for the rebound. And so with that, we start to reset. And of course, now 1 round separating both of these teams. This game potentially could have a round 10, if not round 11 storyline attached with it. As the tension starts to build right now. BigBobbyJinx and co from the side of AFS on the offense. They do find the first blood onto Harm, but TCM is there to respond back with a nade. Frags being tossed out early, and both teams receiving the benefit and the negative from it. Harm watching over for his objective man, babysitting the bomb carrier right now, and ItsCurtBoy is not happy about it. Just around the corner. He wants to challenge this so badly, but he's got to realize that someone is going to be here. Manages to stay up, But unfortunately for his teammates, they do not see a similar feat. 1 versus 3 to put his team on map and really series point, just trying to bait out the shots. Of course, he's not even close to streaks. Would be smart for him to try and jump off the map, but of course that's not possible. I mean, he could try to jump from like top restaurant, but that'd be kind of difficult to try and pull off. And a valiant effort there. I mean, that's about a shot difference, a bullet difference rather, between him and BigBobbyJinx, when he's not even fully sure whether or where the enemy's position is inside of that bomb site. But back and forth we go, as now it's a 2-round swing going toward the side of AFS. We're level at 8, heading into round 9. As far as the first blood differential between both these teams, it is even at 4-4, implicating that it is fairly accurate. And who wins the round? Of course, a known search and destroy stat amongst the COD community for the longest time has been around 75% of the time that you find the first blood, you end up winning the round. Of course, that's related to 4v4s. And right now, that percentage is deadly accurate. 3 versus 2, Nelson and co. Bomb in their hands at TCM, along with TTinyy exploring on a journey. And TTinyy does need to back out. The reason why he's going to hide, of course, he does have the machine pistol, but it looks like it could be PapiWrek walking just toward his side. Has airborne on, so he's not silent. TTinyy is right here. Free kill, and yHarm will drop shortly after that. 5 rounds to 4. And smart plays coming in from Nelson and co. from the side of TMT. And that couldn't have worked out better if you're in TTinyy's shoes, right? Because, of course, you're kind of in the back lines. You don't have the weapon of choice, and a player literally just runs right past your, not necessarily right past your point of view, but you can definitely hear him because he's got airborne on. So round number 10 underway. Not just a much-needed round, but a necessary round. A round that you have to win if you want to stay alive in this tournament, forcing overtime. It looks like it is going to be TMTwerk trying to hold off the defense. 4 players in front of him. We'll see if he can try to take down any. Get shots tagged in a few, but no kills resulting from it is yHarm. Now the second man in defense has PapiWrek watching shortly behind him. Tries to go for the dolphin dive escape, but it's not going to happen. ItsCurtBoy having 2 line up. And now BigBobbyJinx last alive in a 1 versus 3. And he is a sneaky snake. He's hiding, finds ItsCurtBoy. Single player meets him, and he finds that one as well. 1 player left, it's going to be Nelson, but checks the wrong point of view. Did absolutely everything he could in that scenario, did BigBobbyJinx. But it is not good enough. Nelson and the side of TMT will have the last laugh here, closing things out in round 10. As a very intense match that almost goes the whole way, but does conclude, like we said, in a 6-4 scoreline toward the side of TMT. And I can't wait to look at the search and destroy scoreboard, because that must be back and forth. I know we were kind of going over the streaks the teams were going on, but look at the scorecard here. It's Nelson who finishes off 9-6. ItsCurtBoy finishes off 8-8. TTinyy with 8-7. And, of course, not able to see all 4 players toward the side of AFS there. I believe we're actually losing or missing Jinx from that situation. But kind of, I think the reason why we see BigBobbyJinx probably leave the lobby is just because out of pure frustration from not finding that ending 1v3. But, of course, take a look here at our scorecard. For those who may be new to the UMG streams, of course, you can see the key in the bottom left as far as what exactly each kind of emblem means. Of course, the skull meaning the enemy team was eliminated. The clippers meaning the bomb was defused. The bomb, of course, meaning the bomb was destroyed. And the stopwatch meaning the time limit was reached. It's all about the kills and the defuses when it comes down to this game of search and destroy. As we saw AFS get off to a pretty decent start, but it's about that 4-round swing that comes through from TMT on that A bomb site. They were just absolutely dominating, finding the first bloods quite a bit of the time. And I think we end up seeing overall 2 plants come in from both teams. So the objective was definitely kind of forced you know, at different moments, but usually the team on offense ended up closing out the round, except for that one there in round number 10. Some pretty spotty rounds from AFS, like I said, winning round number 1 and round number 2, and then not winning another one until 4 rounds later in round 7. Definitely kind of goes to show when the team of TMT is hot, they are very difficult to stop. Kind of even speaking on USS Texas as well, which is of course the kind of game that brought them back in this series after losing a round 10 on London Docks, or 10-round game, excuse me, on London Docks. They ended up winning USS Texas in 6 rounds in a row after dropping the first one. I mean, once they kind of catch the momentum, they are just a scary team to be looking out for. But of course, as TMT will move on in tonight's tournament, as like I said, they do close out map number 3, 6 rounds to 4. They now advance toward our semifinals here for tonight's UMG Prime at $750 4v4 S&D. Here on March 31st, we're going to take a look at our bracket currently to see exactly how each team is lining out for the time. As it looks like, unfortunately, we do see at the bottom of the bracket, Anime Will Save COD is eliminated. Not going to lie, a little bit frustrated about that. No, of course, all jokes around. Frito Twists advances, though. We've got some pretty interesting team names. Let's go look at these really quick. So we've got Freelix, Rugrats, Gearbo L7, AFS TMT, Anime Will Save COD, which is probably the best, and Frito Twist, which is probably the second best, but maybe next to Rugrats, of course, if it is related to the Nickelodeon show. But anyway, moving on, we've got Gearbo and L7 still to face off against each other to see who can kind of hop into that final 4 in total. Of course, shout out to March Madness. Anyway, moving forward, to see who obviously will be facing off against Freelix, which is yet again another interesting team name to be kind of bringing up right now. But as far as the Freelix roster, to kind of see exactly who's on that team.
Tell me I'm falling.